Welcome to another episode of Extreme Expat Stories of Thailand. Hello, I've been living in Thailand for 7 years now, and I'm writing this down because nobody talks about what expat life here really looks like when you strip away the Instagram bullshit and the retirement porn that guys like me sell ourselves before we buy the one-way ticket. I'm 53 years old. My name is Robert McKinsey, and if I'm being honest, which I might as well be at this point, I came here because I was running away from a life I'd utterly failed at, and I stayed because running away turned out to be easier than I'd ever imagined. Calgary, that's where I'm from. 30 years designing water treatment systems. A job that paid well, but slowly hollowed me out until I was just a shell showing up to meetings and nodding at PowerPoints. My marriage ended not with a bang, but with a whimper. My wife and I sitting across from each other at the kitchen table one night, both realizing we had nothing left to say. Hadn't for years, probably. The divorce was civil because neither of us cared enough to fight. She got the cottage as Sylvan Lake that I'd always hated anyway. Too many mosquitoes. Too many memories of forcing family togetherness. I got the retirement savings and my freedom, which is what cowards call running away. My daughter was already in Toronto, already building her own life, and if I'm being honest, she was probably relieved to have the country between us. I wasn't a bad father exactly, just an absent one, present in body, gone in spirit. She stopped calling after a while, and I stopped pretending I minded. The consulting firm bought me out. Good money, enough to live on if I was smart about it. I was 46, suddenly single, suddenly wealthy-ish, suddenly facing decades of Saturday mornings with nothing to do but watch CBC and wait to die. A friend from university, and I use the word friend loosely. We'd gotten drunk together a few times decades ago, grabbed me at my going-away party and slurred something about Thailand. Forget whatever the hell you're going, he said. Thailand, man. You can live like a king on nothing, and a woman. He trailed off with a wink that made my skin crawl even as something else stared at me, something hungry and pathetic. 6 weeks later, I landed in Bangkok at 2 a.m., stepped into that wall of humidity, and felt something like relief. Nobody here knew me. Nobody here knew what I'd failed at. I could be anyone. That was 7 years ago. The gap year between a gap life became a gap existence. Let me tell you what the daily grind actually looks like. Stripped off the expat blog cheerfulness, I live in Chiang Mai now, in a second-floor apartment in Niman that costs 8,000 baht a month, about 300 Canadian dollars. The building is run by a Thai-Chinese family, and the grandmother, Kun Pon, sits in the lobby feeding stray dogs and occasionally giving me looks that suggest she knows exactly what kind of man I am. I'm polite to her because she controls my lease, but mainly I avoid her. Mornings I wake up around 6 because the heat and the temple loudspeakers and the roosters make sleeping it impossible. I used to find it charming. Now it just pisses me off. I walk to the morning market where I buy papaya salad from the same vendor, a woman named Noi who's about 70 and built like a boxer. She knows I like it medium spicy now, not the sugar water version she gives to tourists. We exchange our little ritual phrases, Sabai di mai, kun rob, Sabai di kun noi. Are you well? I'm well. It's all performance. She wants my money. I want her to pretend I'm not just another sad Farang, marking time until his expat visa expires or his liver gives out, whichever comes first. Breakfast is boat noodles near the old moat, 25 baht for a bowl. In Canada, this would cost 12 bucks and taste like cafeteria slop. Here it's dark broth made with pork blood, and it's delicious. And I feel smug about it every single morning. Look at me, living authentically, eating what the locals eat, except the construction workers around me are eating before going to actual jobs. And I'm eating before going back to my apartment to watch downloaded TV shows, and jerk off and occasionally pretend to consult for former clients who mostly stopped emailing. The bureaucracy here is its own special hell. Every 90 days I have to report my address to immigration. A 90-day report that involves sitting in a government office that smells like mildew and desperation, while surly officials shuffle papers and make you wait because they can. I've done visa runs to Laos, sat in minivans with other expats, all of us swapping increasingly dark stories about overstay stamps and fines and which borders are still friendly. Once, when my retirement visa paperwork went missing, an immigration officer pulled me aside and suggested a facilitation fee of 2,000 baht might help. I paid it. Of course I paid it. You learn quickly here that everything has a price and everyone has a handout. And if you're stupid enough to expect differently, you deserve what you get. The expat community in Chiang Mai is a freak show. Digital nomads in their 20s, sitting in coffee shops pretending their Shopify store or their blog about location independence is a real business. They'll be gone in 6 months, back to Portland or Berlin, with 1,000 Instagram photos and nothing else to show for it. There are the English teachers, mostly young, mostly burning out fast, mostly drinking too fast and sleeping with their students. There are the English teachers, mostly young, mostly burning out fast, mostly drinking too much and sleeping with their students. There are the retirees, guys like me, from Australia, America, Britain, Canada, Germany, all running from something: bankruptcy, alimony, warrants, boredom, themselves. We meet at quiz nights at Irish pubs where we drink too much Chiang beer and argue about trivia questions and pretend we're still relevant. We meet at pool parties at someone's villa where guys in their 60s hit on bar girls in their 20s and everyone pretends it's not grotesque. Some friendships here are real. Most are transactional. You're friends because you're both from far from home and you both speak English and you both need someone to drink with who won't judge you too harshly because they're just as messed up. But let me tell you about the things that happened. The things that cut through the daily haze of routine and reminded me that I'm just an aging foreign body in a place that doesn't really want me but tolerates me for my money. Last October, I took the overnight train from Chiang Mai to Bangkok. Third class because I'm cheap and because I like to think of myself as the kind of traveler who does it the local way, even though locals who can afford it take the bus or fly. We pulled into Ayutthaya station around 5 a.m., still dark, and I stepped onto the platform to smoke. The platform was nearly empty. A stray dog nosed through garbage. I was standing there, half awake, when I heard someone shout. I turned and saw the train was moving, already pulling away. I'd been so lost in my own head, thinking about nothing, about everything, about the emptiness of my life probably, that I hadn't noticed the departure whistle. I ran. My 53-year-old legs remembered they weren't 20, and for a horrible moment I thought I wasn't going to make it. A young Thai guy leaned out and grabbed my hand, pulling me aboard. I sat there shaking. The kid smiled and said something about being careful. I wanted to thank him, but my throat was tight. And anyway, what was I going to say? Thanks for saving my worthless life. Thanks for making sure I get to continue this pointless retirement. Later, in Bangkok, I read about a Canadian who'd died falling under a train up north, 26 years old. It could have been me. One moment of inattention, one wrong step, and suddenly you're not an expat living the dream. You're a consular notification and a body bag in a brief news item that other expats read and think, poor bastard, before ordering another beer. It should have shaken me more than it did. Mostly, I was just annoyed at myself for being careless. 2 months later, I took a day trip to Lopburi with Ploy. I'll get to her, don't worry. Lopburi is famous for its temples and its monkeys. I'd heard stories, but thought they were tourist exaggerations. They weren't. We parked near the old Khmer ruins and walked toward pra prang samyot. Within seconds, a macaque jumped on my backpack. I tried to shoo it away, but the damn thing bared its teeth and went for my sunglasses. Another one grabbed at a plastic bag of mangosteens we'd bought. Ploy was laughing. You have to be stronger. Show him you are the boss. But before I could do anything, a whole gang surrounded us. Maybe 8 or 10 monkeys, all chattering, emboldened by decades of stupid tourists feeding them. One ripped my shirt collar. Another snatched the fruit and ran. I felt ridiculous and furious, mugged by monkeys. A vendor came over with a stick and yelled something that scattered them. She looked at us with the exact expression Thais reserve for stupid Farangs who don't know better. We left with torn clothes and no fruit. Ploy thought it was hilarious. I was just pissed off. Everything here is a transaction, even with the wildlife. You're either dominant or you're getting robbed. Summer 2024 was brutal, not uncomfortable, dangerous. By April, Chiang Mai was hitting 42 degrees Celsius regularly. I'd lived through 7 hot seasons, but this one felt like punishment. The heat was physical violence. Government bulletins reported 61 heat deaths nationwide in just a few months. I knew expats in their 60s and 70s who'd stopped going out midday entirely. I'd see them at 7-Elevens at dawn or dusk, never in between, clutching water bottles like talismans. One afternoon, I was riding my scooter back from the market when I got dizzy. My vision blurred. I pulled over, stumbled into a 7-Eleven, bought water, poured 1 bottle over my head on the curb outside. A Thai kid working there came out and asked if I was okay. I was scared for a moment, actually scared, thinking, this is how it happens. This is how they find old Farangs dead on the roadside. But mostly I was angry. Angry at the heat, angry at climate change, angry at myself for being so old and fragile, angry at Thailand for not being the paradise I paid for. After that, I stayed inside during peak hours, like a rat hiding from the sun, living the dream. I'm not superstitious. I was raised Catholic, lapsed young, became an engineer who believes in data, but Thais believe in ghosts, deeply, practically. Spirit houses outside every building, offerings to land spirits. They talk about pee, ghosts, constantly. My building is a spirit house in the courtyard where Kun Porn leaves jasmine and incense every morning. She told me once, through someone translating, that the spirits protect us if we show respect. I'd nod politely, the skeptical Farang, but I also started making small gestures, a Y when I passed, occasionally leaving a bottle of red Fanta because someone said spirits like sweet drinks. Why? Not because I believe, because I'm hedging my bets, because I'm superstitious about not being superstitious, because after 7 years here I'm not sure what I believe anymore. One night I woke at 3 a.m. and saw something, a shadow, a figure, standing near my window. I turned on the light, nothing, just my shirt on a chair, backlit strangely. I laughed at myself, but I couldn't shake the feeling. The Thais have a ghost story about Manak, a woman who died in childbirth and waited as a ghost for her husband. There's a shrine to her in Bangkok where couples pray. I visited once. The place had weight to it, seriousness, the kind of belief that makes you feel small. I don't know if I believe in ghosts, but late at night, when it's quiet and the temple bells sound, it's easy to feel like you're living somewhere the dead aren't quite gone. Easy to feel haunted by your own choices. Last year I did a 3-day trek near the Myanmar border with a Karen guide named Praset. Thick forests, streams, trails that hadn't been maintained in years. He warned me about unexploded ordnance from old conflicts. Sometimes farmers find bombs, he said casually. On the second day, near a crumbling Buddhist shrine, I found a small metal amulet in the leaf litter, green with age, barely visible Buddha image. Next to it, a broken pottery piece. Praset shrugged. Old, maybe from war, maybe before. Many things buried here. He told stories about Japanese soldiers hiding gold in caves during World War II, looters ransacking Ayutthaya, treasures surfacing after floods. I kept the amulet. I know I shouldn't have. Probably an antiquity, probably illegal, but I wanted it. A tarnished piece of someone else's faith. It sits on my shelf now. Sometimes I hold it and think about all the lives I passed through these mountains, all the prayers and battles and ordinary moments that leave only fragments. Thailand is layered like that. Scratch the surface and you find history. Under that, more history. Under that, myth and legend, indistinguishable from fact. It's all rubble and treasure, and you can't tell the difference anymore. A couple years ago, news broke that Thai police had arrested a Canadian in Phuket on charges related to a gangland murder. The reports painted a shocking picture. Hired killer, mercenary, Thai military jet, masked gunman. The alleged victim was an Indian gangster shot outside a hotel. The Canadian denied everything, claimed setup, said he hadn't brought a weapon into the country. I don't know what's true. The case is probably still winding through the courts. But it shook the expat community. We want to believe we're all just teachers and retirees and restaurant owners. But reality is darker. Some people come here running from something serious. Debts, warrants, enemies, themselves. I met expats who make me uncomfortable. The guy who talks about business opportunities that sound illegal. The one who's been here 20 years without working and lives in a villa you couldn't afford on a legitimate pension. The one who drinks too much and gets aggressive and makes you wonder what he did back home. Most expats are fine, but some aren't. And you learn to trust your gut. Or you learn to ignore your gut because you're all in the same boat anyway. All running from something. And who are you to judge? The lesson. Paradise isn't separate from the world. Violence and crime and human darkness exist here too. You don't escape your nature by changing geography. You just get better lighting for it. The hardest part is John, not his real name. The guy I knew from the expat scene. 53, same age as me. Retired mechanic from Ontario. Quiet guy. Always at quiz nights with a beer and a smile. He'd fallen for a Thai woman, got married, bought a house near Hang Dong. From outside, he had the dream. But relationships are complicated, especially across cultures and languages and expectations. There were pressures, family obligations, money tensions, jealousy, insecurity. His wife went to Canada for a few months. While she was gone, something broke in John. Maybe he found out something. Maybe loneliness crushed him. Maybe it was depression building for years. He was found in his car near a temple. Note asking someone to care for his cats and scatter his ashes at Kamala Beach. He'd taken his own life. The expat community was stunned. We'd just seen him the week before, laughing. He'd seemed fine. I went to the memorial, maybe 40 expats, plus his wife who'd flown back, destroyed. People shared stories about his kindness, but underneath was guilt and confusion. Could we have helped? Were there signs? John's death didn't change me, exactly, but it clarified something. The expat dream. Retire somewhere warm. Find love. Live cheaply. Be happy. Isn't a guarantee. Depression and loneliness and despair don't care about your visa status. The isolation of expat life. The distance from family. The pressure to seem like you're living your best life while everything crumbles inside. It crushes people. But mostly I thought, that could be me. That probably should be me. And I felt nothing about it. Just observe the fact like an engineer noting data. If we're struggling, call someone. Samaritans of Thailand, 02713-6793. Not that it matters. Not that anything matters. But call anyway. Now, Ploy. She's the reason I'm still here. Or at least the reason I tell myself. I met her 2 years ago at the Saturday walking street market on Walai Road. I was buying coconut ice cream when I heard this laugh, bright, uninhibited. I turned and saw her at a stall selling hand-woven scarves, late 40s, maybe 50, simple cotton dress, laughing with a customer, her whole face lit up. I walked over, and yes, I know exactly why I walked over. Don't make me spell it out. And asked in my mediocre Thai how much for a scarf. She switched to English, smiled, said, "For you, special Farang price. Very expensive." Then laughed and named something reasonable. We talked. She'd grown up in a village near Lamphun, learned English from tourists, worked various jobs before starting her scarf business. I told her I was in Canada, an engineer, 5 years in Thailand. I bought 2 scarves I didn't need just to have an excuse to come back. The courtship was careful. Coffee, then lunch. She showed me her village, introduced me to her mother, a tiny woman who looked me over like livestock and nodded once, satisfied or resigned, probably thinking, well, at least he has money. Because let's be clear, that's part of this. Her family expected financial help, not demands, but suggestions about someone's hospital bill, a cousin's school fees. I sent money. Sometimes I felt like an ATM. Sometimes I felt glad to help. Mostly I felt both. And the mixture made me nauseous. We argued about why I wouldn't live in her village full time, because I'd go insane with boredom and heat and lack of privacy. About why she wouldn't visit Canada, because why would she? It's cold and expensive and her life is here. About why I needed alone time when Thai culture values community, because I'm fundamentally alone and always had been, and being around people just reminds me of that. Her teenage daughter from her first marriage regarded me with suspicions for months. Smart kid. She saw exactly what I was, an aging foreign man with money, buying her mother's time and affection and body. Eventually she warmed up, or gave up, or realized her mother was happy or happy enough, and that's all that mattered. But they were good moments, cooking together, her teaching me properly pound curry paste while I fumbled, watching sunsets from Doi Suthep, road trips on the scooter where she'd point out things I'd never noticed, flowers, shrines, the way rice paddies look different at different times, making love in the humid darkness, both of us sweating, both comfortable enough not to care. Those moments felt real, or felt like what real must feel like when you're forgotten. The crises came last year. Her ex-husband showed up drunk at her stall, making a scene, demanding money, accusing her of abandoning Thai culture by dating a Farang. She called me crying. I drove over, found her packing up early, shaken. She said maybe this was too hard. Maybe the cultural gap was too wide. Maybe I should find someone else. I took her hands and said, I didn't come to Thailand looking for easy. I came looking for real. You're real. It sounds manipulative writing it out now. Maybe it was manipulative. Maybe I meant it. Maybe both. She cried, then laughed, then kissed me in public, shocking us both. We're still together. It's not perfect. Her family still makes me feel like a walking wallet. I still miss Canadian conversations about Canadian things. She still thinks I'm too solitary. I still think she sacrifices herself too much for others. But we'll build something, whether it's genuine or just two broken people clinging to each other, because it's better than drowning alone. Does it matter? Does anything? She asked once if I'd ever go back to Canada. I thought about it. My daughter, who barely calls. My aging parents, who I resent for aging and needing me. The clean, cold air of winter that used to feel like home and now just feels like punishment. Maybe for visits, I said. But my life is here now. You're here. She smiled and said, Good answer, Kun Rob. That's expat romance, stripped bare. It's not a fantasy. It's not rescue. It's not happily ever after. It's two complicated people from different worlds try to build one world together. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you can't tell the difference, and it doesn't matter because you're in too deep to leave anyway. 7 years in Thailand. What's the lesson? First, don't get complacent. The train platform, the heat, the monkeys. Thailand's kindness isn't safety. You're aging in a foreign country where you don't speak the language fluently and help isn't guaranteed. Get insurance. Learn Thai. Know where hospitals are. Make contingency plans for when it all goes wrong, because it will. Second, community matters. But don't kid yourself. We can't be isolated expats only meeting for quiz nights. But we also can't pretend we're some tight brotherhood. We're strangers united by geography and failure. That's something, but it's not everything. John died, and we all felt bad, and then we went back to our lives. That's how it works. Third, respect the culture, but respect yourself. I've watched expats bend over backward trying to be Thai enough, and it's pathetic. The Thais don't want you to become Thai. They want you to be yourself, preferably a version that spends money and doesn't cause problems. Learn the language, participate in festivals, but don't pretend you're something you're not. They can smell the desperation. Fourth, love is possible, but go in with eyes open. If you're expecting a younger woman to worship you for being foreign and having a pension, you'll be disappointed and exploited. If you come as a full person, willing to meet someone as a full person, even knowing your respective damages, then yes, something real is possible. Just don't lie to yourself about what real means here. Fifth, embrace the strangeness, because it's all you have. The ghosts, the heat, the bureaucracy, the food that defeats your stomach, the festivals you don't understand. It's the texture of this life. You didn't come here to live a Canadian life in better weather. You came to live a different life. Let it be weird. Let it hurt sometimes. At least you're feeling something. And finally, this isn't paradise. It's just life in a different place. Some days are beautiful. Sunrise over mountains. Perfect sometime. Holding Ploy's hand through the night markets. Some days are frustrating. Visa office, language barriers, loneliness, the knowledge you'll always be an outsider. Most days are both. That's okay. That's life anywhere. The trick is being present for it, accepting it, surviving it. I'm 53 years old. I live in Chiang. I eat boat noodles for breakfast. I have a Thai girlfriend who I love in whatever broken way I'm capable of love. I'll probably die here. Heart attack in the heat, scooter accident, or just old age in a foreign bed with foreign faces around me. It's not the life I planned. It's not even a particularly good life, but it's mine, and I'm living it. And that's more than I managed in Canada. From the land of smiles, Robert McKinsey.